This is Greek with David Hutchison. We're taking a look at textual variants in Philemon in the UBS 5 Greek text. A textual variant is a representation of a manuscript that has a different reading than another manuscript. The first variant we want to look at is in verse 2, the word adelphe. This is the reading in the text. Adelphe is describing apphia. It's modifying it. It's dative. This is part of the recipients list, to Philemon and to apphia and to Archippus. So this is dative feminine singular because it's modifying apphia, that's dative feminine singular. It's the sister, to apphia the sister. When you're in Logos, you can hover over the superscript number and get a little bit of information. But if you want to get all the information, go ahead and click, and then you can see the textual information. All of this block of information right here pertains to this unit of variation. We have 3 different readings, te adelphe. Then where these double slashes end, that means that information is over. Then there's a new reading, te agapete. Look for the slashes. And then te adelphe, te agapete. So we've got 3 different readings we're trying to decide between. The first one, the reading of the text, te adelphe, the sister. The second one, te agapete, the beloved. Or the last reading, which combines the two, te adelphe, te agapete, the beloved sister. So let's look at how UBS 5 will present information. So first off, we see this number 1. This number 1 tells us this is the first variant reading in this chapter. Then we see this letter, capital letter A, in between squiggly lines. This is the grade. This is how confident the editors are that their reading is correct. And A is a very high grade. It's the highest. The lowest would be D, A, B, C, D. So they're very confident in the reading in the text, te adelphe. After the word te adelphe, they start listing the manuscripts which support this reading. If they have any papyrus manuscripts, they'll put it right here. We don't see any, so there are no papyrus manuscripts for this verse. Then they're going to give us the capital letter manuscripts. This Aleph is a Hebrew letter. It represents an important manuscript. And then we have A, D, star, F, G, I, P, and O48. All of these are capital letter manuscripts. If you see a capital letter, it's a capital letter manuscript. Or if you see a number that begins with 0, it's a capital letter manuscript. In general, capital letter manuscripts are going to be somewhere in the first 9 centuries. And so these are a little bit earlier. So these are earlier than your lowercase letter manuscripts. This block of manuscripts right here, starting with 33, all the way over to 1881, these are the lowercase manuscripts. These are going to be a little bit later. Then we have some information from translations or versions. IT for Latin, and then different versions of that. VG for Vulgate. COP for Coptic. ARM for Armenian. ETH for Ethiopic. And GEO for Georgian. Then we have some church fathers, Jerome and Pelagius. So these are the manuscripts which support the reading te adelphe. let me point out here on the letter D, when you see a star, this means it's the original hand of that manuscript. There's going to be a different reading later in this apparatus, so look down right to here. You see a D2. This is the second hand, the second corrector of D. So these are the readings for te adelphi, and again, it ends with this double slash. Then we're going to have the evidence for te agape te. Again, this is the word the beloved. So we'll list papyrus manuscripts first. We don't see any, so there are none for this verse that they give us. We have capital letter manuscripts with our capital letters and numbers beginning with 0. Then we have lowercase manuscripts called minuscules, 256 all the way to 2200. And then manuscripts of the Byzantine tradition. And in brackets, they're going to say K and L. So K and L are supporting the Byzantine tradition. They're individual representatives of the Byzantine tradition. Sometimes you'll see capital letter P right after this, biz, but here P agrees with the other reading. This was what I actually did my dissertation on, and the editors of UBS will call P a witness of the Byzantine tradition, but what I found is that in Paul, and then I particularly worked in Romans, that P frequently agrees with the Alexandrian texts rather than the Byzantine text, so P is a divided manuscript. LECT, this stands for the lectionary tradition. Lectionary 170 apparently has to agape to. That would be masculine rather than feminine, but still supporting the reading to some extent because it's beloved instead of sister, even though the gender of that would be incorrect. Here we've got Vulgate according to some manuscripts, some Syriac with some minor differences, Coptic, Sahidic according to some manuscripts, and then Church Fathers, Chrysostom, Theodore according to Latin. Double slash, the evidence is over. So the final reading, a combination of the two, te adelphi, te agape te. We don't have any papyrus evidence. We don't have any capital letter manuscripts. We have one lowercase minuscule, 629. Then we have some versional evidence, some translations, and then a church father. So this is an overview of how UBS will work in their Greek text. So we have 3 different readings. We have te adelphi, te agape te, and then a combination of the two, te adelphi, te agape te. Again, how confident are they that their reading in the text is correct? They are very confident, represented by this grade of A. Now, when you get into deciding which reading is correct, this is a whole nother discussion to have. You'd probably find a good number of scholars who will argue for looking at all the evidence, both external and internal. External, we're talking about the date, the family of the manuscripts, and how widely distributed the reading is geographically. So date, text type, geographical distribution. If you do this, the earlier the better for date, the better textual tradition is preferred. Of course, that's debated. And then the wider geographical distribution. Those are 3 pieces of evidence for external evidence. And then on the internal side, scholars will look at how a particular reading flows and fits in the text, and so more of an art than a science on some of the internal considerations. When you want to dig into this, you can look at items like a textual commentary by Bruce Metzger. You can also look at some of the more Greek-focused technical commentaries that will discuss text-critical issues. Ultimately, this matters because when you're teaching and studying and preaching the Word of God, you do want to get back to the original. And all of this stuff, all of this textual variant sort of stuff is about getting back to the original. That's what we believe is the inspired Word of the Lord.